This is Worldwide Classic, and I'm your host, Southside Tre. I just want to ask y'all a couple questions real quick. Y'all feeling me yet? Do y'all see why Worldwide Classic is the premier place to hear wrestling news? Because this is a few times now where I've hit a home run in theories, predictions, discussions, whatever y'all want to talk about in terms of professional wrestling. This is the place to be. I'm talking a lot of shit today because of what I saw on Saturday night's main event, WWE Saturday night main event. And what we saw was Bronson make his return. And not only did he make his return, he joined Seth Rollins' group. Like I say, y'all rocking with me yet? Do y'all feel comfortable enough knowing that when you tune into Worldwide Classic, that you gonna get the realest wrestling news and the realest wrestling talk from any other program, quite frankly? Like I always say, I'm a true fan. That's the only reason that this show exists, is because I'm a true fan of professional wrestling. And some of these could be considered my opinions, but a lot of it is just the knowledge and experience as a true fan. It's not about what I feel. It's just about professional wrestling being done the right way. So if you've been following this show, you know by now that I'm a Shield guy. And with being a Shield guy, ever since WrestleMania, I've said that the only way that triple threat match between Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns would work was if Paul Heymon eventually joined Seth Rollins. And that's exactly what happened. Also, with the same group, once they added Braun Breaker into the equation, I wasn't quite a fan of that. And I said how the group was feeling stagnant, the energy was missing, and that it just wasn't working. And something seemed off, because at WrestleMania, Seth Rollins looked like a star. But ever since WrestleMania, it's almost like he disappeared. On one of my last episodes, I made the suggestion that Bronson should return and take Braun Breaker's place and join Seth Rollins and Paul Heymon. And at Saturday night's main event, that's pretty much what happened, except Bronson didn't replace Braun Breaker. He was just added to that group. So let me go ahead and jump into it. First of all, WWE, y'all must be listening. Y'all must be watching Southside Tre and Worldwide Classic. Because at this point, it's been more than one coincidence. And that's okay, because I told y'all before, y'all could steal from me, because nobody will ever know, because this show is really just getting started. But we're still kind of new to the YouTube space. So shout out to all of the people that's been subscribing to the channel and all of the people that's been watching, supporting, and leaving comments. I love y'all for that, man. Y'all really been motivating me to keep this show going. So for the people that's been watching and that continue to watch, do you see what I mean? Do you see what I'm saying? As soon as Bronson joined that group, the group just felt entirely different. It gave this whole new thing a brand new energy. Hell, it gave me a brand new energy. You see how excited I am, not because I'm right, but because this is what needed to happen. I'm a Seth Rollins fan. I want to see Seth Rollins succeed. He was not going to succeed with just Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker and Paul Heymon almost seemed like they didn't know what to do with Seth Rollins. But a guy like Bronson who I know that a lot of people didn't even consider. A lot of people didn't even consider him being a part of this group. And now that he's joined the group, you could see why I suggested it in the first place. I didn't watch Saturday night's main event. I told y'all before that I might not watch every show because so many of the storylines have failed flat that it just hasn't caught my attention. So even with my episodes, some of the episodes have been coming out later than they should. They've been recorded, but I've just been releasing them a little later than I should. So I'm going to do a little bit better job at that, because it seems like everything that I say is kind of happening in one way or another. I'm going to talk about Monday Night Raw with the Seth Rollins group now, because I didn't watch Saturday night's main event, but I caught the highlight of Monday Night Raw when Seth Rollins came out with the new group, and they gave what I would call the best promo of this new group so far, even before Bronson was a part of it. This is what I was saying. It's amazing how one man could make all of the difference in the world. It just has to be the right man. Bronson Reed is a star. He's a star. This is Worldwide Classic. I'm Southside Tre, and I'm a true fan of professional wrestling. I know the stars when I see them. And I know when I see people that are being forced to be a star and they still need work. Braun Breaker still needs work. And there's nothing wrong with that. He still needs work. My problem is, just like what Paul Heymon said on Monday Night Raw with this new group, he said that if Skynet sent the Terminator would predict the future and Braun Breaker would main event 6 or 7 WrestleManias. That's my problem. Why do we keep automatically putting this man in a main event at WrestleMania when he's not even ready to be a champion yet? Why do we do that? That's pressure on Braun Breaker. When I say these things about Braun Breaker, it's not to be negative. I love wrestling. I want to see Braun Breaker be a star because I'm a fan of his uncle and his father, the Steiner brothers. They're two of the best wrestlers that ever set foot in any ring, and they will always be considered legends over here at Worldwide Classic. So that's my thing. Let's not rush with Braun Breaker to make him something that he's not right now. He still needs some character development, and he still needs some more work inside of the ring. It's just that simple. It's not a knock on him. But to try to automatically say that he's going to main event 30 WrestleManias, no, he might not, unless y'all just forcing him to do it. So with that being said, this is the best promo that Seth Rollins has given, probably since before WrestleMania. I was so proud to see Seth Rollins be the star that I'm waiting on him to be. Because when I watched Seth Rollins this past Monday night on Raw, this is what I was waiting for. And it's crazy how it took Bronson Reed to be a part of the group to bring this out of Seth Rollins. But that was my point. Character, chemistry. This is something else that you've heard here first on Worldwide Classic. Character, chemistry. You can't just put people together and expect them to bond. You can't just put people together and expect chemistry. It don't matter if you give it a little time. I had one guy comment on this show and say that it's so many microwavable fans that just want things right away and that you have to give things time. I understand that and I get that, but you don't know what you're talking about. I know what I'm talking about. That's why I have the show. That's why I have Worldwide Classics and not you. I understand the psychology of professional wrestling. Some things we don't need to wait 2 or 3 months just to see it fail. I've watched this product long enough to know when there's a spark and when there isn't one. The fact that they even had to add Bronson Reed to this group speaks volumes. It emphasizes everything that I'm saying. If Braun Breaker and Paul Heymon truly had chemistry with Seth Rollins, you wouldn't have to add a third wrestler to that group. You wouldn't have needed Bronson Reed. Braun Breaker should have been enough to have that group going for the next few months. But the WWE isn't as incompetent as I thought they were, because clearly they either watched this show or they just knew on their own that that group was not working. Bronson Reed came in for one night at Saturday night's main event, and he made more of an impact than that entire group has done since WrestleMania. And I love that CM Punk is a part of the storyline. Shout out to Chicago. Shout out to CM Punk. Of course, CM Punk is going to make everything great that he's a part of. Because a lot like me, another guy from Chicago, we're passionate about the things that we love. And we want to see the best version of the things that we love. And I'm pretty sure CM Punk is ecstatic to be involved with this storyline, especially now that a guy like Bronson Reed is involved. Let's take it back to Seth Rollins on Monday night. Not only did Seth Rollins give one of his best promos probably ever. Like, this is not an over-exaggeration. This is not prisoner of the moment. I'm a true fan of The Shield. All 3 guys. I've watched these guys start their career in WWE. Dean Ambrose was the best talker of the three. That's why Dean Ambrose was the best talker of the three. And we've watched Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins grow and develop over time. This is one of the best promos Seth Rollins has ever given. Hands down. And you could tell that having Bronson Reed a part of this group has reinvigorated Seth Rollins. It's just that simple.
This is the way forward. This is how we secure the future of the industry.
Seth Rollins loves professional wrestling. He strikes me as a guy that's similar to CM Punk. He wants to see the business of wrestling grow and succeed. And I think Seth Rollins is the type of guy that gets excited when he sees other professionals who's really putting in the work and who really have potential. I know that Seth Rollins sees that in Bronson Reed because Bronson Reed is hungry. Not only is he hungry, but he has it. He has an it factor. He's a big guy that can move that way. And then he has the money move, the tsunami. It's just a simple splash from the top rope, but that's a point of being a star. Bronson Reed makes jumping off the rope more effective and more devastating than it's ever looked. In the history of WWE. I've never seen another man jump off the top rope for a splash and it looks that devastating. That's half the battle right there. It's having a type of move that could change the game. This is why I wanted Bronson Reed with Seth Rollins, because now you have a real enforcer. Bronson Reed almost destroyed Seth Rollins. And I alluded to that because I've seen a lot of comments where people don't understand why would Seth Rollins want to be with Bronson Reed after what Bronson Reed did to Seth Rollins. But I explained that in my last video. Feel free to go watch it. But I'm such in a good mood, I'll give you a little bit of it right now. It's because Seth Rollins needs a killer on his team. He needs a killer on his team. It's better to go with the devil that you know versus the devil that you don't. Seth Rollins knows that Bronson Reed is going to get the job done because he almost got the job done with Seth Rollins. He almost took Seth Rollins straight off the board. This is why you would want somebody like Bronson Reed a part of the team, because Seth Rollins is supposed to be a visionary that's trying to lead the WWE into the future. Y'all didn't need Paul Heymon to cut that promo on Monday night to tell y'all what I just said, because I already said it on the last episode. I already told y'all this. This is the point of a visionary. So again, I think somebody over at WWE has tuned in to our show, Worldwide Classic, and they've taken a lot of notes. And I applaud them. I applaud them for that, because this is not about ego. If the things I say could help make that company better or professional wrestling better, then I'm all for it. I just want to be excited when I see the sport that I love. And I didn't even watch Saturday Night Main Event, but when I woke up and saw the highlights on YouTube, my first thought wasn't even that I was right. It was just that I was proud to see them actually use a version of that storyline that I suggested. Because again, it's not about my personal feelings. I just want to see this shit done the right way. And that's how you do it. Now let me get back to this promo because I'm a little excited, so I'm kind of bouncing around. The promo on Monday Night Raw when Seth Rollins was with this newly formed group with Bronson Reed, you could just see it in his face. The way that he's standing by Bronson Reed, his interactions with Bronson Reed, you could tell that this is exactly what Seth Rollins wanted and needed. It just made everything very effective. Even Paul Heymon. Even Paul Heymon now seems a little bit more comfortable in the things that he's saying about Seth Rollins. Now he's talking about Seth Rollins as if Seth Rollins is a savior. Now he's finally finding his role within the group. And I love what Paul Heymon said about that Seth Rollins is the most generous person he's ever met in his life. The fact that he would partner up with a Bronson Reed, even though Bronson Reed almost took him out the game. But that's how generous and selfless Seth Rollins is. I love that. I love that because now we're getting back into the real visionary, the real Monday Night Messiah. And I love that Paul Heymon has taken this approach to being the manager or whatever he calls himself in that group. I love everything about this right now. This is one of the times where WWE really hit a home run. Not because they listened to me. It ain't about that. It's just what I said was the right thing to do. And they did that. So I'm so proud of everybody over there behind the scenes for even coming up with this. Because when I suggested it, I honestly didn't know that they would do this. I didn't hear any type of news or any type of rumors. That was just what I felt in my heart. I had no prior knowledge that Bronson Reed was even able to come back right now. I didn't know that Bronson Reed was medically cleared. It was just on my heart to say what I said because that group needed that. So that's why I give the WWE so much credit right now. I'm never going to be a person that's just negative or criticize somebody. I'm a man. I could give people their credit. I could give the devil his due. And the WWE deserves a lot of credit. That promo from Seth Rollins was on fire. I love the passion. I love the enthusiasm. And I love the storyline. I love the storyline. And now we're heading into Money in the Bank. And I think it's a foregone conclusion that Seth Rollins will be the Money in the Bank winner. And he should be. Because this ties into the entire dynamic of the visionary. It's no way that he shouldn't walk away with the briefcase and Money in the Bank. And even though I would have had Bronson Reed replace Braun Breaker, because that's really what I wanted. But I'm okay with this too. I'm okay with this too. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out because Bronson Reed being there still doesn't negate everything that I've said about Braun Breaker. So it'll be interesting to see that dynamic. But it's okay. I'm going to let it rock for now. I personally would have liked to have seen Braun Breaker get kicked out the group. And I say that because, again, Braun Breaker needs work. And I think this will be the thing to help him in the ring and with his character, is to be a person that's going against Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. Maybe one day WWE will take this idea from me as well. And we'll have Braun Breaker get kicked out of that group. And I think that will do wonders for Braun Breaker to have Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed as an opposition. Because now it will give Braun Breaker a legitimate storyline. It will give him something to work with and build his character. Because he'll be able to have something to actually say on the microphone. He could talk about Paul Heymon. He could say things about Seth Rollins. He could go to war with Bronson Reed. I think that'll be the perfect thing for Braun Breaker, is to split from this group eventually. But maybe we'll get there. Maybe not. Keeping the main thing, Seth Rollins killed it with this promo on Monday night. And if anybody thought that Seth Rollins wasn't capable of being a star or being at the type of level that Roman Reigns was on, I hope that this past promo from Seth Rollins shows everybody the type of potential that that man possesses. He really has grown leaps and bounds when it comes to promo work. And now his confidence is just through the roof. Bronson Reed was the killer that Seth Rollins needed. And just like Michael Cole and Pat McAfee said on commentary, Monday Night Raw now belongs to Seth Rollins. Now, excited as I am, the only thing is you have to keep booking them strong. You have to keep booking the group strong. So this is the only thing that could be jeopardized. So this is the only thing that could be in jeopardy. Who do you have as opposition for these guys? That might be the only problem, because of course you could have big matches on the premium live events, but what are you going to do in the in-between time on the Monday Night Raws and the SmackDowns? How are you going to be able to keep this group strong and exciting on a week-to-week base? Because nobody could really see these three guys. Nobody could see Rollins, Breaker, and Bronson Reed. So that'll be interesting to see how the WWE does that. Since they put this group together, maybe on the next episode, I'll actually sit down and I'll throw a couple of ideas out myself of guys that I think they should put this group against to keep that momentum going. Because this is the only thing that I'm worried about now. They accomplished the hard part. They finally had enough sense to bring in Bronson Reed and put him with Seth Rollins. But now, who are the opponents going to be? I'm tired of seeing Sami Zayn go against these guys. I'm tired of seeing Jey Uso go against Seth Rollins and having interactions with Paul Heyman. What wrestlers can we get involved in this storyline now? Because this is just like I say with all veterans and all stars. Now it's time to build up the next generation as well. This is not just about Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. They're being utilized with a star like Seth Rollins, and now we can find out what type of wrestlers do we have that could be legitimate stars as good guys. Who can we build up and show a side of and show sides of that we haven't seen before? Who are these guys? So it'll be interesting to see who the WWE decides to pick. In the next episode or two, I will have a couple of opponents that I feel like should be inserted into that mix. But it'll be fun to see because Bronson Reed is a beast. He's a monster. I wished him well. I wished him a speedy recovery. I didn't know my prayers were going to be answered that quickly. But here at Worldwide Classic, we blessed on more than one level. So shout out to Bronson Reed. Shout out to the whole group. Shout out to WWE. Y'all finally got y'all head in the game now. Now, let's keep that momentum going. Yo, what's going on with it? I'm Southside Tre. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Full Time Digital House, and follow me on Instagram, Southside_Tre. Appreciate y'all.